Welcome back. And now it's time to talk about additional space-saving features. So in this page, you can see that we've mentioned that for a while now, ever since vSAN 6.2, you have been able to use RAID 5 and RAID 6. Please remember, RAID 5 and RAID 6 can only be used if you have the all-flash architecture, not if you have the older hybrid architecture. Now, when you take a look, here what they've mentioned is that RAID 5 can save you up to 33% of the space against a two-way mirror VM. And RAID 6 can let you save up to 50% of the space compared to a three-way mirror VM. Please remember, RAID 5 requires 4 hosts. RAID 5 can sustain 1 loss. RAID 6 requires 6 hosts, and it can sustain 2 losses. Now, when you take a look, here they're showing you that if you had a VM, if this VM was RAID 0, and the VM had a disk that was 100 gigs, the VM would use 100 gigs. Now, if the VM is a two-way mirror, 200 gigs. If the VM is a three-way mirror, 300 gigs. But if you use RAID 5, instead of using 100 or 200 gigs, if you're using RAID 0 or RAID 1, with RAID 5, you would need 133 gigs. With RAID 6, that would require 150 gigs. So again, it would save you 50% of the space compared to a three-way mirror. Here we show you that it's very easy nowadays to create these policies using the vSphere client. What you have to do is you have to go to the home page. You got to click on the icon for virtual machine storage policies. You name the policy. You click on the box for vSAN, and then you choose under availability whether you want to use RAID 5 and RAID 6. In my demo, I am going to create a policy for, let's say, RAID 6. However, when I try to use it, it's going to fail. Remember, you can always create the policies, but it doesn't mean you can use them. When I try to create a RAID 6 VM, if I only have 4 hosts, in recent tasks, it will tell me I don't have enough full domains. And if you take a look, before we do the demo, we need to talk about trim and map. We've introduced trim and map in 6.7 Update 1. And one of the things you need to understand is that with trim and map, the idea is you need to enable it not with the vSphere client, but instead with a command. Now, this is not a command inside of an ESXi host. This is a Ruby vSphere console command. Now, some of you guys may have used the RVC before. Maybe you haven't. So I'm going to do a demo. And in that demo, I'm going to show you how to navigate through the RVC. And I'm going to show you how to enable trim and map. I'm also going to show you what happens if it's already enabled. Now, when you take a look, here they explain to you what this is. And at the very top, it says vSAN supports SCSI unmap commands directly from a guest OS to reclaim storage space. So once again, the idea here is simple. You want to save space. You want to reclaim space that is no longer being used. You can see it says the guest operating systems can use trim unmap commands to reclaim space that is no longer used. And of course, to use that, I've mentioned, you have to enable this, but you enable this from one command. Again, inside not of an ESXi host, but inside of the vCenter. And when you take a look, here, you can see as we talk about the advantages, they mention faster repair, and they mention removal of dirty cache pages. Just in case if you don't understand what they're meaning by that, what they're saying, notice it says because reclaimed blocks do not need to be rebalanced or remirrored if a device fails. Repairs are going to be a lot faster. And at the bottom, it says removal of dirty cache pages from the right buffer reduces the number of blocks that are copied to the capacity tier. So if you look here, we show you commands that you can execute in Linux. And again, what happens in Windows once you have trim and map enabled. In Linux, you can see that you have commands called fstrim. And if you take a look, this happens automatically if you have an NTFS file system with Windows. Now, if you take a look, here they show you that you can enable trim and map either by using PowerCLI or by using the RVC, the Ruby vSphere console. Now, I am going to do a demo using the RVC. So remember, you're going to have to, number one, putty into the vCenter server. Then you're going to have to access the RVC. And then with one command, you're going to enable trim and map. The command is vsan.unmap_support. And that command has two options pretty much. -E for enable or -D for disable. If you run the E option and it's already enabled, it's going to tell you that. Now, the reason I need to do a demo is because you don't just type the command, you have to specify the cluster name. So you have to either be in the right location within the RVC or give it a full path. Once again, if you never use the RVC, you may want to look carefully at that demo. So if you take a look, I've mentioned you cannot enable the trim and map feature with the vSphere client, but if you enable it with the command line, you're going to have performance-related charts that will give you trim and map information. As you can see in this page, here we have a chart that shows you trim and map throughput. And again, remember, this will only show you anything if you have enabled that feature, which is always disabled by default. So before you do lab 10, we're going to cut for a second and we're going to switch to my kit. I'm going to do a couple of demos. One is going to be about RAID 5/RAID 6, and the other one is going to be about trim and map. So enjoy the demo, and then don't forget to play with the lab. And again, you're doing lab number 10. Thank you guys. I'll see you in a minute when we switch to our lab. Thank you.